Hey everybody, it's Joe from greenlightsound.com, and today we're going to take a look at the brand new EZdrummer 3 from Toontrack. We're going to compare it to EZdrummer 2 and its big brother Superior Drummer 3, going over some of the new features, what's included here, what's been updated, what's in this that's not in Superior Drummer 3, and what Superior Drummer 3 has that this doesn't, but focusing mostly on EZdrummer 3 here. And the first new feature we got to talk about is the resizable interface, which is nice. We can now take up as much of the screen as we want. We're going to blow it up nice and big so we can see it. It's got an all-new core sound library, so the drums in this are not the drums from EZdrummer 2. They're completely different. They're also a much larger library at 15 gigabytes versus the 4 gigabytes that EZdrummer 2 was. These were recorded at Hansa Studios in Berlin, Germany, which there's actually an SDX for Superior Drummer that was recorded there too, but this is a completely different session, different drummer, different drums. 7 different drum kits are included, 3 different rooms within Hansa. We've got the main room here, a bright room, and a muted kind of tight room. So a huge selection of sounds here. This is the main room on the screen right now. We can of course go to the bright room, which is actually a marble room, great for big rock drums, huge sounds. And if we want something a little bit tighter and more intimate, we've got the deadened drums in the tight space for tight room right here. Just going to jump back over to the main room. If I go to the Grooves tab at the top, we've got an updated MIDI library here. This is the EZdrummer 3 library. I've got a bunch of others down here, but this is the main one here. The old EZdrummer 2 library was around 940 MIDI files. This one is 2100 files just in the core library, so a lot more drum grooves to build songs from. It's got some tap to find updates up here where you can kind of tap a groove in and find MIDI that fits within the groove that you tapped in. We've got a grid editor on here so we can really dive in and edit the drum parts, velocities, what drums are being used. We can really dial it in with some features up at the top for really tight editing. The mixer tab is pretty much the same as EZdrummer 2, except that we've got a few more mixer channels available. But if I jump over to this bandmate tab, what we've got here, if I get rid of this file, is the ability to drag in an audio or MIDI file and have EZdrummer 3 create a drum part based upon that audio or MIDI. So if you've got a guitar part recorded just as like a scratch guitar part and you're thinking of a song, drop it in here, it comes up with a groove for you, which is really cool. It's got advanced playstyle editing back in the Grooves tab. So if I hit this, we can really dial in what's happening with the cymbals, with our power hand, really deep dive into the drum groove that we're creating. It's got some more advanced humanization features if you turn them on, like automatic adjustment of velocity and micro timing, and automatic articulation variability to kind of make it sound more like a real drummer and less like a machine. And that's basically it for new features. So let's jump back to the drums and hear how they sound, because that's a big deal. How do these drums sound? It's great to have a lot of features for building drum parts, but you got to have a great sounding drum part to begin with. So I'm just going to stick with our Studio Basic main room. This is the default thing that comes up when you first open EZdrummer. And here's what it sounds like with the drum groove I have selected down here. Within the main room, we could then choose a bunch of different presets. We can go with the engineer who actually recorded this session. He's got a bunch of presets here. Toontrack added some as well, or the original mix, which is kind of like the unprocessed drums. Let's jump to that original mix here and see what that sounds like. So if you want to put this as audio files into your DAW to mix later, you kind of want to go with the original mix. If you want to leave it all within EZdrummer 3 and have them process it for you, you'd choose one of these other presets. So let's choose Studio Full Mic Fat Reverb. This will be more processed sounding. I'll jump to a different part of the groove. Now I'm going to move over to the bright room here, and I'm going to choose one of the Toontrack presets. We're going to go with Heavy Rock. You can see different drums recorded here, and here's what this sounds like. Now we'll choose a preset called Big Chief. Nice. Now let's go down to the tight room here. And we're just going to stick with the classic pop basic the first thing that comes up when you've got the tight room going. Super dry, muffled, muted, great for that tight drum sound. Let's pick another preset within here. Parallel Alt. We'll try that one. Great, so a bunch of presets to work from with a huge variety of sounds for your basic drum kit. And of course you can load in all the other EZXs that you already own. I'm going to make this window smaller now, drag it off to the side, and start up Superior Drummer 3 just for a point of comparison. Now this is the drum program I use the most. And I'm going to compare it a little bit to EZdrummer 3 to see if it's worth the upgrade to Superior Drummer or if EZdrummer 3 is the way you want to go. First, in terms of core sounds, the Superior Drummer 3 library is enormous. It's 235 gigabytes. It's got more unprocessed raw drums. It's got surround support, electronic drum sounds, just a huge library with a great variety of drums. It's got this tracker tab, which is not included in EZdrummer. This is great for drum replacement, where you can have audio to MIDI conversion, drag in real drum parts, have Superior Drummer extrapolate its parts to it and create MIDI parts out of it in Superior Drummer. The mixer is way more fully featured. You have mixer effects that you can actually use, like you're using a mixer within your DAW, which is great. You don't really have any control over the mixer effects within EZdrummer. You've got individual drum bleed controls. On the mixer channel, you've got internal mixer buses, so you can do sort of sub-routing and processing that way, parallel routing and things like that. Superior Drummer 3 can also run the EZX libraries that are normally used in EZdrummer, including the EZdrummer 3 core library. So if I go here and I roll down to the EZdrummer libraries, the three things we had over here are in it, so I can pick my tight room here. This is the exact same kit I have over here. Now, one thing that's annoying about Superior Drummer is the look of the interface. It's got a generic drum look to it when using an EZX library versus the custom graphics you have for the EZdrummer 3 version of the same exact drum sounds. You can create things we call drum stacks in Superior Drummer, so you can have multiple drums on the same MIDI note or hit, kind of like stacking extra kicks or snares on top of each other, or maybe an electronic drum sound with an acoustic snare and kick. There's a bunch of other smaller features that make this super tweakable. But the basic decision you've got to make is, do you want a bigger library with more control, almost too much control, or do you want easier sort of workflow and quicker usability? And this new Bandmate tab, which is not included in Superior Drummer. So if you've got a really rough idea and you want to get a quick drum part going, this is awesome. This is a great way to do that. So that's really what it comes down to when you're talking about EZdrummer 3 versus Superior Drummer 3. But overall, just looking at this on the whole, it is a fantastic sounding drum library with as many features as you probably need to get basic drum tracks going for demos, or if you're really into editing it, you can even get them to sound like they're ready in production. And of course, you can always sub these out into your DAW and process the tracks themselves if you go with the original mixed version of it. I'm a huge fan of Toontrack products. I think their drum tools are some of the best out there. They're certainly the best I have used, so this one is highly recommended. EZdrummer 3 from Toontrack. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already, so we can keep you in the loop as to what's coming up next, and I'll see you in the next one.